You think you can read people because you listen to their words, but you can't. You think loyalty is something you earn by being good, patient, helpful, or available, but it's not. Right now, without even noticing it, you trust people who wouldn't even hesitate to drop you the second you stop being useful. You trust people who smile while planning something else. You trust people who say they care but vanish the moment you need them. And the worst part is this: you think it's normal. You think you're strong because you keep showing up. But you're not strong, you're trained. Trained to tolerate disrespect. Trained to explain yourself. Trained to doubt your own instincts. Trained to give second, third, fifth chances. Trained to forgive people who would never forgive you. Trained to think loyalty is natural, when in reality, loyalty is strategic. And most people don't have strategy, they only have need. Look at your own life for a moment. Someone at work takes credit for your idea in a meeting, you freeze, you hesitate, you tell yourself it's not worth the drama. Later they get praised and you act like nothing happened. In your mind you think that staying silent means staying professional, but in their mind your silence means one thing: you're someone they can step on. Or look at your relationships. Someone cancels on you again, they give a casual excuse. Maybe it's vague, maybe it's lazy, you pretend you're fine with it, you even say no worries, but inside, a small part of you knows something is off. You know they don't value your time, you know they don't fear losing you, but you swallow it because you think patience is maturity. It's not. Sometimes patience is just fear wearing a mask. Or look at your so-called friends or family. They know you'll say yes, they know you'll show up, they know you'll help them move, help them fix something, help them listen to their problems, and they know you won't ask for anything in return. You're their safe option. Their default option, the one who gives without being asked and forgives without being apologized to. And you think that makes you a good person. Maybe it does, but it also makes you an easy person. The truth is simple: you weren't raised to be powerful. You were raised to be useful, useful to systems, useful to expectations, useful to people who wanted something from you. No one taught you the difference between loyalty and dependency. No one taught you how to read the signs when someone's loyalty is fake. No one taught you that a smile can hide intention, that kindness can hide strategy, that presence can hide opportunity. 500 years ago, Machiavelli looked at these same patterns in human nature. He watched rulers get betrayed by the people who swore loyalty the loudest. He watched men fall because they trusted hearts instead of actions. He watched the world reward the strategic and punish the naive. And he wrote one of the clearest truths about loyalty: people are loyal only as long as it serves them. Not because they are evil, but because humans are driven by fear, need, and advantage. And if you don't understand that, you become prey in a world full of hunters who look like friends. In this video, you're going to learn the 7 signs their loyalty is a lie. Not the signs you see in movies. Not the signs you read in motivational books. These are the real signs. The ones you feel in your gut, but ignore because you want to believe people are better than they are. These signs will make you harder to manipulate. They'll change how you react, how you speak, how you listen, and how you decide who gets access to your time and your peace. This is not about becoming paranoid. It's about becoming strategic. I'll warn you now, most people will click away because the truth is uncomfortable. They prefer illusions. They prefer to believe everyone has the same heart they do. But if you stay until the end, it means you're serious about transforming how you handle power, relationships, and boundaries. So put your phone face down for a moment and just listen. If this hit you, write "I am the strategist" once in the comments, just to mark the day your mindset changed. Now let's break down the truths you were never taught. The first sign is subtle but deadly. Their loyalty disappears when your value drops, even just a little. Think about moments when life wasn't going well for you. Maybe your money was low, maybe your confidence was off, maybe your energy was drained. Notice how some people suddenly created distance. It wasn't personal, it wasn't emotional, it was strategic. Machiavelli wrote that people are loyal when you are strong, not when you are weak. In simple words, people follow the sun, not the shadow. When you shine, they come closer. When you dim, they wander. You can see this in modern life everywhere. A guy loses his job and suddenly the friends he used to pay for don't text him anymore. A woman stops giving emotional support to her friends and suddenly she's difficult instead of caring. Someone stops being available and suddenly they're changing. But what's really happening is this: their loyalty was never loyalty. It was appetite. They stayed because you fed a need: money, validation, attention, comfort, entertainment, status. And the moment you stop feeding it, the moment your value reduces in their eyes, their presence fades. You notice their replies get slower, their tone changes, their enthusiasm fades. They find reasons not to meet. And the truth hits you harder when you realize they were never attached to you. They were attached to the version of you that benefited them. Psychologically, this happens because many people confuse loyalty with advantage. They attach themselves to whoever gives them the easiest emotional or material return. They prefer low-resistance friendships and relationships. They prefer people they can drain without consequence. The moment you become less convenient, they detach to look for another source of advantage. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He said humans are quick to forget favors, but never forget pains. In other words, your value must be consistent or their loyalty won't be. So what's the shift here? Stop testing loyalty when you are strong. Test it when you are neutral. Pull back slightly. Reduce your availability. Don't always reply instantly. Don't always say yes. Don't always show up. The reaction you get will reveal more than any words they could ever say. Real loyalty adapts. Fake loyalty collapses the moment you stop being their personal solution. Next time someone claims they're always there for you, wait until you need something small, not money, not a major favor, something simple. Ask for a ride to the airport. Ask if they can help you move a box. Ask if they can listen for 10 minutes. If they vanish, delay, make excuses, or shift the conversation, you have your answer. Loyalty that disappears when asked to give is loyalty that was built on taking. The second sign their loyalty is a lie is when they praise you too quickly, too strongly, too early. It feels good at first. You think they see your potential. You think they're supportive. But if you pay attention, the praise comes before the knowledge. They compliment you before they understand you. They call you bro, fam, bestie, king, or queen before they've earned any proximity to you. They speak like they've known you for years when they've only known you for weeks. And you mistake the intensity for sincerity, but it's not sincerity, it's strategy. Machiavelli warned that flattery is one of the easiest weapons to use because it disarms you. When someone gives you praise, your guard drops. You stop analyzing, you stop observing, you stop questioning intentions. Praise is psychological chloroform. It puts your critical thinking to sleep, and most people don't realize this. They mistake warmth for loyalty. They mistake intensity for depth. They mistake excitement for trust. But the truth is, someone who rushes closeness is someone who wants something. It could be access to your circle, access to your calm, access to your money, access to your attention, or sometimes simply access to your energy because your presence soothes their internal chaos. You see this often in dating. Someone showers you with compliments, affection, and attention early on. They text constantly, they mirror your interests. They say things like, "You're different, I feel safe with you." But if you step back, you'll notice they barely know you. They're creating a bond that isn't built on understanding. It's built on speed. And anything that needs to be rushed is fragile by design. Because once the excitement fades, once the dopamine settles, once the illusion drops, they lose interest, and you're left wondering what went wrong. Or look at the workplace. A coworker suddenly starts praising your skills, your work ethic, your intelligence. They say things like, "You're amazing, we should collaborate." But when the time comes, you notice they want you to do the heavy lifting. They want your ideas, your structure, your discipline. They want your results to boost their status, and they used praise as a rope to pull you in. The psychology behind this is simple. People praise early when they want access. They praise intensely when they want influence. They praise easily when they want control. Real loyalty grows slowly. Real loyalty observes before attaching. Real loyalty builds through time, through consistency, through shared tests, through mutual challenge. Fake loyalty builds through speed. So what's the shift? Slow everything down, match their pace. If someone rushes closeness, you slow down your trust. If someone rushes connection, you slow down your vulnerability. If someone compliments you excessively, you step back and observe what they want in return. Because no one gives that level of energy without expecting something from you, even if they don't admit it. Next time someone showers you with praise, just smile and say less. Don't reveal more. Don't feed the momentum. Their reaction to your slowness will reveal the truth. If they're real, they stay steady. If they're fake, their enthusiasm collapses. Their mask slips, their tone shifts, and their true intentions rise to the surface. Another sign their loyalty is a lie is when their loyalty is loud in public but quiet in private. You've met people like this. They hype you up in front of others. They call you their friend, their brother, their day one. They speak highly of you when it benefits their image. They show you off like a trophy when you make them look good. But when no one is watching, when it's just you and them, their energy changes. They don't ask how you're doing. They don't check in. They don't support your work unless other people can see it. They only act loyal when there's an audience. This is one of the strongest indicators of pretend loyalty, because real loyalty is built in private moments. Real loyalty is what someone says and does when no one else is around, when there's nothing to gain from praising you, nothing to gain from supporting you, and nothing to gain from standing by your side. Machiavelli said that men follow appearances more than reality. Many people want the appearance of being loyal because it makes them look honorable, dependable, trustworthy. But they don't want the responsibility. They want the badge without the duty. Look at social interactions today. Someone posts a picture with you and writes a caption about real friendship, but they never text you first, never help you when you're stressed, never show up when you need someone to talk to. They just want to be seen as loyal. Or maybe someone supports your project publicly, leaves comments, shares your posts, but privately they never ask how things are going, never check if you're good, never help you move forward. They like the social currency of appearing loyal without investing in the actual relationship. The psychology behind this is simple. Some people want proximity to your image, not to you. They want to borrow your reputation, your energy, your work ethic, your ambition, or your social credibility. They want the glow without carrying the weight. Being publicly loyal costs them nothing. Being privately loyal costs time, effort, sacrifice, and fake loyal people avoid sacrifice like a plague. You'll see this with coworkers too. In front of the boss, they praise you, collaborate with you, act like you're a team. But behind the scenes, they don't include you in plans. They don't share information. They don't support you when someone challenges you. They keep their real alliances hidden and give you the illusion of partnership until it no longer benefits them. Their loyalty is not loyalty, it's political positioning. So what's the shift? Pay more attention to private behavior than public displays. Someone who praises you online but ignores you offline is not loyal. Someone who claims they've got your back but disappears when it actually matters is not loyal. Someone who introduces you as a friend but never acts like one in private is using you as part of their identity costume. To test this, pull away your public presence, stop posting, stop showing the world your wins, stop giving them a stage to perform their loyalty on, see who stays, see who checks in, see who notices your silence. Silence is the most powerful filter in your life. It strips away the performative loyalty and reveals who actually sees you, not your image. Another sign their loyalty is a lie is when they only support you as long as you stay predictable. The moment you start changing, growing, leveling up, or stepping into a higher version of yourself, their energy shifts. They feel threatened even if they don't say it. They start acting different. They become distant. They minimize your progress. They joke about your new habits. They say things like, "You're acting different," or "Don't forget where you came from," or "You've changed." They use guilt as a leash. Machiavelli understood this better than most philosophers. He said people fear change because change threatens their comfort. When you evolve, you disrupt the balance they're used to. If your growth means they have to grow too, they will resist it. Many people prefer you as the version of yourself that was easy for them to understand, easy to manipulate, easy to predict. Your growth becomes an inconvenience. You've seen this in friendships. You start working out, eating better, focusing on your goals. Suddenly, they say you're obsessed or too serious, but what they're really saying is, "Your discipline makes my lack of discipline uncomfortable," or you start building a business, learning a new skill, or focusing on your money. Suddenly, they stop supporting you. They don't share your wins. They don't ask about your progress. They avoid the subject because your progress exposes their stagnation. You'll see this in dating too. The moment you stop being needy, the moment you start setting boundaries, the moment you stop over-explaining or chasing, their attitude changes. They like the version of you that revolved around them. They feel insecure about the version of you that revolves around your mission, your goals, your purpose. Their loyalty was built on your weakness, not your strength. The psychology is simple. Fake loyalty thrives when you stay where you are. Real loyalty grows when you grow. Fake loyal people want to freeze you in the version of yourself that benefits them. Real loyal people want to see you rise, even if it means they have to adjust. So what's the shift? Keep evolving. Don't shrink to preserve someone's comfort. When you grow, people will fall away naturally. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to convince them. You don't need to argue. Growth exposes loyalty without effort. Next time someone criticizes your improvement, watch their tone. If they laugh at your discipline, if they mock your routines, if they question your ambition, it's not joking. It's jealousy mixed with fear. If they were truly loyal, they'd encourage it, they'd adjust, they'd support your new direction. Fake loyalty hates transformation. Real loyalty adapts to it. Another sign their loyalty is fake is when they overreact to small boundaries. This one reveals more truth than almost anything else. Set a small boundary and watch what happens. Say no to a minor request. Delay your reply. Stop giving instant access. Stop explaining your decisions. Watch their reaction. If they get irritated, defensive, passive, aggressive, cold, or distant, that's not loyalty, that's entitlement. Machiavelli said that when people rely on you for something, they come to see that thing as a right, not a privilege. And when you take it away even a little, they feel betrayed. People who are truly loyal don't collapse over small boundaries. They don't punish you for having a life, responsibilities, or standards. Fake loyal people, however, depend on your lack of boundaries. They rely on your availability. They rely on your generosity. They rely on your predictability. And the moment you break that pattern, they show their true nature. Look at your social relationships. You stop replying instantly, and they get cold. You stop always being available for last-minute plans, and suddenly you're acting weird. You say you're busy, and they get annoyed. But that annoyance reveals everything, because loyalty without respect is dependency in disguise. Or look at family dynamics. You say no to something small, and suddenly they act offended. They bring up the past. They guilt-trip you. They question your intentions. But if your loyalty depends on you having no boundaries, then it isn't loyalty at all. It's control disguised as closeness. The psychology behind this is clear. People who get angry at your boundaries were benefiting from your lack of them. People who respect your boundaries were loyal to you, not to the access you provided. So what's the shift? Start with small boundaries and observe. You don't need to make a speech. You don't need to explain yourself. Just adjust your behavior. People who value you will adapt. People who only value your compliance will resist. Another sign their loyalty is not real is when they collect information about your life, but reveal almost nothing about theirs. You've met people who ask deep questions, personal questions, emotional questions. They want to know your struggles, your plans, your fears, your dreams, your weaknesses. They want access to your mind. They want to understand how you think. They want the blueprint of your habits and reactions. But when you ask them something simple about their own life, they dodge it, they redirect, they give vague answers, they keep everything surface level. This is not shyness, it's strategy. Information is power, and people who intend to stay loyal have no problem sharing theirs. People who intend to use you treat information like a one-way pipeline. Machiavelli warned leaders to be cautious of people who listen more than they speak, not because listening is bad, but because some people listen with intention, not respect. They collect knowledge the way a thief collects keys. Each one is another tool to access something you didn't intend to give. Look at friendships. You might have someone who always wants to know what's happening with your goals, who you're dating, what you're planning next, who you had conflict with, what you're struggling with. But when you flip the energy back, when you ask them how they're doing, what their goals are, what changes they're making, they give you almost nothing. You walk away from every conversation feeling like you revealed too much and received too little. That imbalance is not accidental, it's engineered. In relationships, this pattern is even more dangerous. Someone who wants emotional access without emotional exposure is not loyal. They want your vulnerability so they can map your mind. They want the emotional leverage. They want to know what hurts you, what motivates you, what makes you insecure. And even if they don't consciously plan to use it, the moment conflict arises, that information becomes ammunition. They will remember every detail you shared while you know almost nothing about them. In business, this shows up when people want to know your strategies, your plans, your ideas, your progress. They ask questions that seem supportive, but they never tell you what they're working on. They never reveal their real goals. Their loyalty is not loyalty, it's surveillance. They are studying you, positioning themselves, preparing for advantage. Psychologically, people who use information but don't share information are afraid of being known. They want control without vulnerability. They want to navigate you without being navigated. They treat your transparency as a resource, not a connection. Real loyalty comes with mutual openness. Fake loyalty comes with extraction. So what's the shift? Start matching energy. If someone never shares their life, stop sharing yours. Give short answers, keep things light. Don't hand over depth to someone who hides their own. Conversation is a mirror. When someone refuses to reflect anything back, it means they don't want to be seen. And someone who doesn't want to be seen cannot be trusted with anything important. The next sign their loyalty is fake is when they stay close to you only as long as your world stays familiar. When you change direction, change environment, change purpose, their loyalty starts to fade. These are the people who only support you within a specific version of your life. They're comfortable with you when you're low, key, or when you're struggling, or when you're stuck. But when you start moving up, their support turns into silence. You see this when you level up your career. Suddenly, the friend who always wanted to hang out becomes unavailable. Not because they're busy, but because your growth makes their stagnation painful. They can't celebrate you because your success reminds them of their inaction. Machiavelli said the rise of one man exposes the weakness of others. And this is exactly why fake loyalty collapses when you evolve. Your progress threatens their identity. Look at how people behave when you start changing your habits. You go to the gym and they laugh. You save money and they tease you. You cut off distractions and they say you're being dramatic. But none of this is accidental. It's psychological resistance. They feel safer when you're predictable, when you stay in the same cycle, when your identity stays familiar to them. They were loyal to the weaker version of you because it made them feel superior, needed, or comfortable. They're not loyal to the stronger version because it forces them to face themselves. You see the same pattern in dating. When you don't chase as much, or when you start focusing on your goals, or when you stop revolving around them, they call you distant. They accuse you of losing interest, but in reality, they were loyal only to the version of you that catered to their needs. The moment you introduce direction, discipline, or self-respect, they feel threatened. Their loyalty wasn't loyalty. It was dependency disguised as affection. So what's the shift? Understand that your growth will always reveal who was real and who was comfortable. Don't slow down your progress to keep someone close. Loyalty that demands your stagnation is disloyalty in disguise. Keep moving. Whoever is meant to walk with you will adjust their steps. Whoever is not will drift away, and that loss is a gain. Another sign their loyalty is fake is when they only show loyalty after you win, never before. These are the people who suddenly come back when things start going well. The ones who cheer for you only when others are cheering too. The ones who support you only when your life looks attractive, productive, or successful. They want access to the rewards, not the journey, and they disguise opportunism as loyalty. Think about people who disappeared when you struggled, but suddenly return when your situation improves, when your money gets better, when your mental state gets better, when your career takes off. They weren't there in the grind, but suddenly they want to celebrate you in the glow. Machiavelli wrote that men are drawn to success because success offers protection and resources. In modern terms, people chase winners, and many will pretend their return is loyalty when really it's calculation. You see this when someone ignored you for years but reaches out the moment you start achieving something. Or when people who never supported your ideas suddenly act proud of you once you gain momentum. They claim they always knew you'd make it, even though their absence was proof they didn't. Opportunistic loyalty is the most common form of false loyalty. It hides behind smiles, congratulations, and sudden warmth, but it's rooted in advantage, not connection. The psychology is simple. People attach themselves to whoever increases their status, comfort, or social value. When you win, being close to you makes them look better. They want the benefits without the investment. They want the outcome without the loyalty. Real loyalty supports you before the win. Fake loyalty only arrives after the victory. So what's the shift? Watch who stays close during the building phase. That's your truth. Anyone who only shows up after you rise does not deserve access to the inner rooms of your life. Be polite, but keep them at a distance. You don't need resentment. You just need clarity. Someone who ignored your journey has no right to your success. Another sign their loyalty is fake is when they stay close to you but stay connected to your enemies. You've experienced this before, but you didn't want to admit what it meant. Someone acts like they're on your side, but they keep hanging around people who openly disrespect you. They say they care about you, but they keep friendships with people who gossip about you. They claim loyalty, but they stay tied to circles where your name is treated as a joke or a weapon, and they always have excuses for it. Oh, I don't want drama, I'm neutral. It's not my business, I don't get involved. But neutrality is a mask, and Machiavelli made this clear. Neutrality is rarely neutral. When conflict or tension exists, people choose sides through action, not words. They choose sides by who they stand with, not who they smile at. Someone who stays close to people who attack you, undermine you, or sabotage you is not loyal. They're gathering information, hedging their bets, or protecting themselves at your expense. Look at real life. You tell someone that a coworker mistreated you, and the next week they're laughing with that coworker. You explain that someone betrayed your trust, and a month later they're hanging out like nothing happened. They say they're staying out of it, but the truth is they're staying involved, just not on your side. Someone who is loyal creates distance from those who try to hurt you. Someone who is disloyal keeps bridges open in both directions because they want to benefit no matter how the situation plays out. Psychologically, this happens because some people view relationships like insurance policies. They don't want to commit to one person or one side. They want multiple options, and they think staying connected to your enemies gives them safety, leverage, or access. But more importantly, it reveals something deeper. They fear losing those other connections more than they value their connection with you, and that alone tells you everything. You may have told yourself excuses to justify it. Maybe they just don't understand the full story. Maybe they're trying not to get involved. Maybe I'm overreacting. But if someone truly respects you, They distance themselves from people who disrespect you. They don't need a speech. They don't need a fight. They don't need drama. They simply understand that loyalty requires alignment, not excuses. So what's the shift? Watch who people spend time with, not what they tell you. Look at the circles they protect. Look at the connections they refuse to break. Fake loyalty tries to stay connected to everyone, so they never face loss. Real loyalty stands with you even when it's inconvenient. When someone refuses to distance themselves from those who attack you, they are quietly choosing a side, and it's not yours. Another sign fake loyalty shows itself is when they mirror your energy only when it benefits them. These are the people who treat loyalty like a transaction. When you're giving, they're giving. When you're present, they're present. When you're supportive, they're supportive. But the moment you pull back, even slightly, their energy collapses. Their connection to you is not built on who you are. It's built on the benefits they receive from your consistency. You'll see this with people who match your attention only as long as you're the one initiating. If you stop texting first, the conversation dies. If you stop checking on them, you never hear from them again. If you stop being their emotional anchor, they drift away like you never mattered. They were never loyal. They were reactive. Their loyalty is an echo of your effort. Machiavelli said men are loyal as long as loyalty is easy, but when the situation becomes difficult, loyalty becomes a burden they don't want to carry. In modern terms, most people don't want the responsibility of maintaining a real connection. They want the comfort of receiving without the effort of giving. And the moment giving becomes necessary, they disappear. Look at friendships. You always listen to their problems, but when you finally open up, they give you half their attention. You always make plans, but when you stop planning, the friendship pauses like someone hit a switch. You always support their ideas, but when you chase your own goals, they suddenly go quiet. Their loyalty wasn't loyalty. It was a reflection of how much you carried the connection. In relationships, this pattern is even clearer. Someone showers you with affection when you're giving them attention, but the moment you get busy with your goals, their warmth fades. Someone acts loyal when you're convenient, but the moment you have boundaries, their entire personality changes. This type of loyalty is never genuine. It's conditional, reactive, and shallow. Psychologically, people who act this way are trained to conserve energy. They believe relationships should give them something without requiring anything from them. They think effort is only necessary when the other person stops providing it. And when that happens, instead of giving, they simply withdraw. So what's the shift? Stop rewarding reactive people with proactive effort. If someone only mirrors your energy, pull back and observe. Real loyalty continues even when you slow down. Fake loyalty dies the moment you stop fueling it. Watch who keeps showing up without needing you to carry the entire weight of the connection. Another sign you must pay attention to is when someone is overly curious about your failures, but uninterested in your successes. These are the people who instantly ask about your mistakes, your conflicts, your losses, your struggles. They want the details. They want the emotions. They want to see where things went wrong. But when something goes well, when you achieve something, when you improve, their reaction is flat. Dry, distant, they change the subject, they act unimpressed, or even worse, they ignore it completely. This is one of the darkest forms of fake loyalty, because it often hides behind polite words and friendly behavior. But deep down, these people are not loyal. They're predators of vulnerability. They feed on the parts of you that are wounded, uncertain, or insecure, not because they care, but because your weakness makes them feel stronger. Machiavelli said people respect strength and exploit weakness. And you'll see this principle reflected in people who show deep interest in your struggles, but only mild interest in your success. If someone only leans in when you're hurting, they are not supporting you. They are enjoying the shift in power. Your weakness makes them feel significant. Your victories threaten their position. Think about someone who listens closely when you say something is wrong, but barely reacts when you say something went right. Or someone who asks for updates when your life is messy, but disappears when your life is improving. Or someone who gives advice during your failures, but gives silence during your achievements. Their loyalty is not loyalty, it's fascination with seeing you below them. Psychologically, this comes from insecurity. People who don't feel strong in their own life find comfort when others are struggling. It levels the playing field. It soothes their internal fear of being less. But when you rise, they don't know how to handle it. They feel small again, and instead of being proud of you, they pull back because your success is a mirror they don't want to look into. So what's the shift? Watch who celebrates you and who tolerates you. Someone who only appears in your pain is not loyal. Someone who supports your victories is rare and valuable. Pull closer the people who feel happy when you win. They're the real ones. Another sign their loyalty is fake is when they use emotional language without emotional action. These are the people who say they care, they say they're loyal, they say they've got your back. But when the moment comes to prove it, they vanish. They speak like warriors but act like shadows. They talk like they would stand by you, but in reality, they're already halfway out the door when anything difficult appears. You've heard these lines before. If you need anything, let me know. I'll always be here. You can count on me. But when you ask for something small, not even big, they hesitate, they delay, they lose enthusiasm, their tone changes, suddenly they're tired, busy, distracted, or they pretend they didn't see your message. Because their loyalty was never meant to become action, Machiavelli warned rulers to ignore what people say and only measure what they do. Because words are cheap, easy, safe, actions require sacrifice. And fake loyal people avoid sacrifice because sacrifice exposes who they really are. Look at friendships. Someone says, "Call me anytime," but when you actually call, they're unavailable. Someone says, "I'll support your goals," but they never show up when it matters. Someone says, "I've got you," but they never demonstrate it. They confuse sentiment with loyalty, but sentiment without action is manipulation. In relationships, this pattern is even stronger. Someone tells you they love you, but they don't respect you. They tell you they care, but they don't listen. They tell you they want to build with you, but they don't take steps toward growth. Emotional language becomes a currency they spend to maintain access to you. But when the bill comes due, they can't pay because they never had the loyalty to back it. Psychologically, these people rely on words because words are enough to satisfy basic emotional expectations. They say what they need to say to stay in your good graces, but they never commit. They want the emotional closeness without the emotional responsibility. Fake loyalty lives in language. Real loyalty lives in action. So what's the shift? Stop believing declarations and start watching demonstrations. When someone tells you they care, don't be impressed, be observant. When someone tells you they're loyal, watch how they behave when your life becomes inconvenient. Real loyalty reveals itself in difficulty. Fake loyalty disappears the moment things stop being easy.